Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well. This little rant or video, voice note, I actually intended on doing this a while ago, and then a couple of conversations and posts, and also the addendum to the rules that Permabear made the other day, made me realize that I'd actually quite like to get this done sooner rather than later. So here it is. The addendum that Permabear made was that he didn't want anybody talking in absolutes within the group because it kind of messes with some of the trades that are being taken. And I would go one step further actually and say that that kind of speaking or psychology, because it's just a reflection of your psychology, is really doomed to failure. And I will explain why. There were also a couple of comments about, oh, this is definitely going to do this, or some trades that people had either talked themselves out of or gone in and then doubled down. Those also were an impetus, a motivation for me to talk about it. And what I want to talk about is what I consider to be the psychology of trading. I kind of split this whole thing up into three parts. We've got risk management, psychology, and then TA, right? And I assign importance to them in that order. To me, risk management is the most important thing, right? It's the most important thing. Then followed by your psychology, and then followed by TA. But I think what people do is they get the whole thing backwards, upside down. They want to find that secret sauce, that special strategy, that indicator, that little tip that's going to make everything change. And those little tips are cool, right? They can give you a little extra juice for the squeeze, but they aren't going to make you profitable if you're not profitable already. See, I think the real secret is that pretty much any strategy will work, Millions have been made by just following simple EMA crossover strategies, or just buying spot when the daily RSI reaches oversold and then selling it when it's overbought, or looking at price action and selling retests, and any simple strategy will work. But what is the problem? Why is this so difficult and so frustrating? Because I know that feeling. I know that feeling of just. I think it was about a year and a half or 2 years ago. Like I literally just wept because I'm a big dude. Like I'm, 100 kilo. I don't know about American. I mean, what's that? 200 and something pounds. 100 kilos. 6'3". What's that? 190 centimeters. Is this like a casual dox again? I'm a big dude, and I was not raised easily, and then it was just so frustrating, and I felt the burden of I've got to support people, and I can see the money right in front of me, but it's just I keep either losing or missing trades, and so I know that feeling. So please understand that when I come at this, I'm doing it from a position of just love, I'm not mocking you. Like I've been there, I know how hard it is. I still feel it occasionally. But the big change in my psychology my trading rather, came when I changed the way I thought about trading. So the first thing is risk management. You've got to have that locked in tight, right? I've shared videos about that. There's a video about that in Trading Rules. I would recommend, no more than 1 or 2% per trade, unless you're doing one of these smaller degen style account flips. But that's not for that's not for an amateur. That's for Permabear, right? He's a pro. Those people who do those DJing account flips, that's not their rent. That's not their life savings. That's not their crypto money. That's their play money. So I would recommend 1% per trade, and I'm actually going to suggest less in a moment, but we'll get to that. So that's risk management. Now the second thing, I guess the third thing is TA. You can just do anything. It could be a coin toss. And I'll explain that too in a moment, because that will probably seem counterintuitive. So the main point of what I want to talk about is the psychology, right? And the biggest thing I want to say is that the market is not random, right? There are reasons why every move happens. However, there are an almost infinite number of variables that go into any given price movement And I got this way of thinking from Mark Douglas, who you can look up on YouTube and read his books or whatever. And I actually just brainwashed myself. I realized, oh, this is how I need to think to be successful. And then I just brainwashed myself, just hundreds of hours every single day, hours and hours and hours, just re-listening again, the audiobook, the YouTubes, until it just sunk in. And then I did a few other things, which I'm going to suggest at the end of this as well. So the main thing is that the market isn't random, but basically, for all intents and purposes, it is random in the sense that we cannot predict it. Now you might say, well, what about those people online who said, it's going to bounce here and then it bounces? They predicted it. Well, yeah, in a sense, but if I flip a coin and I say this is going to be heads and it lands on heads, did I predict it? It's kind of a deeper philosophical question of what it means to know something, but just on surface value, we can say that there are certain probabilities of something happening, but there is no real prediction, really, no certainty. So in all intents and purposes, the market is random. We don't know what's going to happen next, but it is the inability to accept this simple but fundamental truth that leads us to oversize, double down on losing bets, all the classical mistakes of trading, talk yourself out of trades. All of these come from this one simple thing, in my opinion. Not accepting that you cannot predict with any certainty what's going to happen in the market. And as a little addendum, I would like to just say that these are just my opinions, right? Permabear, I think, also thinks along these lines, from what I've seen and from what we've spoken about. But, if he says anything that's different, then obviously just, go with what he says, right? He's the pro, right? I'm not a pro. I'm just someone who's found consistency and would like to, share that in this community. So, so the fundamental truth of trading seems to be that the market is, for all intents and purposes, random. There is no way for us, an individual, to predict what's going to happen with any measure of certainty, unless we are moving the market, of course. If you're on some tiny low cap shitcoin, yeah, you can move the price a bit and see, oh, that was my wick or whatever, but not with Bitcoin and not with the market. So we need to really accept that it's random. Now, what usually happens is this. People decide, oh, I think this is going to happen. And then they have an expectation of what they think is going to happen. And so because they are sure that's going to happen, that's why they enter the trade. They enter the trade because they're pretty sure something is going to happen. But that certainty is an illusion. So that leads them to oversize, 5%, 10%, even 3% of their portfolio on a trade that is essentially random. Now, I like to think of it in terms of like a casino. And this is really important. How does a casino make money? They're gambling, right? It's a random chance. A bunch of games that have random chances. And then the casino has an edge. We also have edges, right? I buy support, I sell resistance. These are forms of edge. And that is a small but significant percentage chance that one thing will happen over another. That's an edge. Now, again, that's not certainty. That doesn't predict anything. But it just says that if we have a large enough number of trades, that over a long period of time and a large enough number of repetitions, we can expect a 55% chance of heads over tails, let's say. And couple that with risk management, meaning if I lose 1 unit of risk, and if I win 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever. With those two together, you can make a lot of money. Casinos are a huge business. Now, let's zoom into the casino floor. There's a game of blackjack being held. You're sat at the table. You're looking down. It's like, I don't know, whatever the cards are. Do you think the owner of the casino gives a shit what the result of that hand is? Of course not. They don't care about the next hand because they are focused on the law of large numbers. Their edge. And their edge playing out over time. They don't care about the next trade. When I put a trade on Bitcoin on the 1 minute chart, do you think I don't care at all about whether it's a winner or a loser? Because I know over a large enough series of bets or whatever, I have somewhere between a 63 and a 68% chance of being successful. And when I'm unsuccessful, I lose 1 unit of risk. And when I'm successful, I gain on average 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever it is. Okay, not usually 10, but you know what I mean. Units of risk in return. A way of simply thinking about this is, let's say that you and I were going to play a game. It's a coin toss game. Heads I win, tails you win. If it comes up heads, you have to pay me let's say $2. If it comes up tails, I have to pay you $1. So, you lose, you pay me $2. I lose, I pay you $1. As the person, as you, how many times should you play that game? Think about it. How many times should you flip the coin? You pay me 2 if you lose, you get 1 if you win. How many times should you flip it? Right, ideally 0, right? Maybe 1. As few as possible. Now flip it. Imagine you're me. If I win, I get 2. If I lose 1. How many times should I flip the coin? I should be flipping that coin as many times as I can. I should never stop flipping the coin. And let's say I flip the coin and lose 1. Does it matter? No. Because if I just keep flipping, I'm going to win. Right? Does that make sense? So, I flip the coin, I lose, I pay you 1. Do I care? Nope. I flip the coin again, I lose, I pay you 1. Do I care? No. I flip the coin again, I lose again, I pay you another 1, I've paid you 3. This is when, well, let's think about this in terms of trading. What would you do here? You start a strategy, you take 3 trades, you lose all 3. What do? You switch strategies, right? And I did this for about 6 months, I guess. Just hopping from strategy to indicator. There is no end to that. Let me just tell you very clearly, there is no end to that. That is an endless cycle of losing. And again, I've been there, and I'm not trying to call anyone a loser or because you're trying to improve your life. You're not a loser. We are not losers, right? Like, we are trying to provide for ourselves and our families. Like, that's not what losers do. So we do not need to feel bad for this, but we do need to know that this is an error. This is a psychological error caused by the fact that we do not understand the law of large numbers and how each individual trade has really no meaning, no significance. So let's say I have a win rate of 60% and I take 3 losses in a row. I don't care at all. I take 4 losses in a row. This is fine. If I take 5 or 6 losses in a row, now maybe there's a problem with my execution, with the strategy. But if I'm just taking 3 losses in a row, it doesn't matter. Because that's within the statistical variability of my edge. Now let's go back to the game of the coin flip. I have a risk management which says when I lose 1, when I win 2. I have a 50-50 chance, and I can just flip the coin, and then I can make a lot of money, right? That is almost a money printer. It's going to be slow, and that slowness also causes people to make psychological errors, jump to a different strategy, double down on losers, take profits too early, things like this. But that can be solved if we just view what we are doing like we are the casino. We are not the gambler in the casino, or at least we shouldn't be. Our aim should not be the person who's on the blackjack floor hoping that the next hand is a winner so he can just pay his brother back or whatever it is, right? Pay his rent, get medicine for his cat, whatever it is, right? We are not that guy. We are the casino. We just keep making intelligent bets with a statistical edge in our favor, and we just keep flipping the coin. We limit our downside by tightly controlling our risk. You'll never see Permabear going, taking the, $9,000 or probably $10,000 by now, right? That he's got from 2K, which is that's insane. That's crazy good. You're never going to see him just say, hey, I'm really sure about this move on Bitcoin. Let's put 5K long. That's like just betting on red at the roulette table. You'll never see him doing that. Like, that's a fool's game. And you may win that game in the short run, but only if you're lucky. That's like the guy who plays the coin toss game. And when he wins 1, and when he loses 2, but he goes on a 3-win streak, so he keeps playing. That's a fool. That person is, for whatever reason, that's a fool. So, what should we do? What do we need to do? What needs to be done in order to make us profitable? First, we need to kind of change the way we think, right? I see a lot of people making these posts and I just keep repeating over and over again. If you keep thinking like that, you're going to lose just like I did. So what I suggest to you is what I did, which is this. Here's the exercise. And you can consider this homework. And I did this more than once. So the first thing is find an edge. Anything. Moving average cross, some indicator bullshit, support resistance flips, or what I would suggest is follow what Permabear is doing. See if you can follow his strategy. Watch he's got that 5-hour long scalping video on Twitch. Watch the whole thing. Show that you're really into this. Watch the whole thing. Watch what he's doing. Shorting untested levels, longing untested levels, things like this, and click a lot. And basically just stick to it. Stick to it. Never move your stop loss. Put your stop loss in a place that makes sense, and when it goes past there, you are wrong. Never move it. And then just take profit, at the next trouble area or wherever it is. The more mechanical the system, the better. That's why, I know indicators are, generally speaking, not the best way to trade. But in my personal opinion, just whatever you can find that makes your trading as mechanical as possible, then do that. And then commit yourself to take 50 trades. Or if you're trading on the higher time frames, maybe 20 trades, minimum 20, let's say. And then never break your risk management. Always follow your rules, and your risk should be, let's say, 0.2% of your account. So times your 0.2, whatever the dollar value of 0.2% of your whole account is, times that by 20. This money you should kiss goodbye. This is you paying tuition fee. And focus on the process. Focus on executing, because this is why I'm part of this group. Because for me, my weakest point was execution. I knew what I needed to do. And I thought, you know what, I'd like to be able to be in a place where I'm with other people who I can talk to this about, so that I can really make sure that I'm on the ball when it comes to my execution. Because I know that that's the place where I could maybe, I can squeeze a bit of extra juice from this lemon, So, because I think that's really important. And one person I see that executes really well is Permabear. I was watching his old Twitch videos and seeing him just execute. I was like, wow, that's cool. So I thought, this is why I'll join. So I suggest you do the same. Focus on the process and the execution and forget about the money. There was a comment today of someone mentioning they wanted to win back what they lost. That, again, is doomed to failure. Reduce your risk to an almost insignificant amount, and then just click. Just follow the process, follow your plan, execute it perfectly, and if you can execute those 20 trades perfectly, you will, and especially if the edge plays out, end up in profit. And more importantly, because the profit will be minuscule, right? 0.2% risk. But the most important thing is you will have started to shed yourself of the fear of trading, right? And why does the fear come? The fear comes because of the uncertainty. You have not accepted the uncertainty. If you just do this, you'll start to realize that these individual trades don't matter, right? So I would recommend to you, if you're not profitable yet, find a simple, highly mechanical system. Lower your risk to an amount that doesn't matter to you financially, and then just start trading mechanically. It should be boring. The more boring this is, the better. Like I used to come home and trade in the evenings. I've just stopped doing that now because it's so boring. I get distracted and tired. I just only trade for a few hours in the morning now, and that's it. The more stressful and burdensome you make this, the harder it is going to be to execute. And execution is everything. So try the example. Maybe search some Mark Douglas on YouTube. You can find his audiobooks. You can find his lectures. They're long. There's many of them. and try and get this idea. And you'll hear him talk about what I'm saying, because none of this is my original thinking. I'm not making anything up myself. I know nothing. I just found this, and this really changed everything for me. So I'm hoping it can do the same for you. So anyway, with that said, I rambled for 20 minutes with a completely still screen. That's very boring here. Hopefully all this recorded well. Yeah, hopefully I mean, I wish this went back more so we could look at the 2017 run, see where we are. But anyway, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Zone in, zoom in, find your edge, execute. Don't listen to any of these fucking Twitter shill boys. Don't watch YouTube. Don't try and learn anything new. You don't need anything new. Everything you need is in your head, right? Oh, it sounds so cliche though, but it's true. Everything you need, I think the original quote is, the consistency that you are looking for is within you. And it sounds such bullshit, but it really is. There's no secret sauce that you're going to find that's going to suddenly change your trading. The best it could do is give you confidence to execute, and you could have cultivated that without the sauce. So take the trades, work on your execution. You don't need to learn everything. You don't need footprint. You don't need indicators. You don't need anything. You just need a simple edge. Buy support, sell resistance. Done. You're just a simple edge, tight risk management, and then the understanding that you have no idea what's going to happen next, and you don't need to make money. So let's get it. Let's get it done, guys. Much love.